Yeah, I mean James White's about kind of about a somewhat troubled 20-something New Yorker who is in the midst of dealing amidst his own troubles, dealing with his mother's illness, cancer, and kind of about their bond. Um, yeah, so it's kind of a universal story in that way, but told in a specific way through Josh's eyes and specific situations that he's been through.
First of all, it's really hard to know with any director whether it's a first-time director or not. It's anytime you do a movie, period. It's a little bit like painting in the dark, and then when it's finished, they turn the lights on and you look at it, and you go, "Oh, we did a good thing," or well, we learned something. I feel like it's really kind of interesting for me with Josh because those guys at Sean, Antonio, and Josh, all of them at Borderline. It's a three-headed monster. They support each other. They really present as a team. They produce each other's movies, and Josh was the last man up. So we've already seen his amazing work as a producer. We know, you know him as a filmmaker, but I always at least found that kind of his sidewalk act as a producer. There's a little bit of I think a producer has to have a little bit of a con man to him and has a couple of secrets he's keeping and moving the shells around. And so he had to, for him to make this film, which is so raw and so vulnerable, as his first time directing outing, following the success of the other two guys. But you just take a bet,
Right.
you put money down and you spin the wheel, and you don't know how it's going to turn out.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I've been friends with Josh since a little bit before Marcy, Me, and Marlene, which he produced, and then we've all been friends since, and then and then Josh kind of asked me to do it while he was still kind of in the early process of writing it. So I've been around with this project through a few drafts and before principal shooting.
If anything, I have nothing specific that I would want an audience to walk away with. I mean, what I love about art and what's always sort of funny about talking about art is that you make art so that because you don't know how to say it, you don't know how to express yourself, and I can't think of which painter had said this, but he was talking about his work and he was like, "Well, I can't talk about it. That's why I paint." And so I guess there's something nice about whatever happens at the end of a film, the stuff that can't be talked about, the stuff that I don't know what people will take away from it. I know that I had a really amazing, strange, transformative response watching it for the first time yesterday, but I assume that no one else will have the exact same experience as I had, and I think that's a good thing.
Yeah. It's kind of a love story. I feel like you and Cynthia both are kind of fighting for survival.
Yeah.
In this movie, and there's something really beautiful about that where, she's fighting kind of for her literal life and I'm gonna just talk all over your stuff, but
Dude, no.
Chris is kind of fighting for, this existence as this young man that he is, that ultimately you that can't survive. You have to let that guy die so that the adult grown-up man can kind of be born out of the ashes. And it's the crazy thing is that I think Sundance is full of young filmmakers all the time love to make films about their wallowing in their angst and stuff, and the thing that's beautiful about this movie is you guys never go there. If anything, it's you and everybody's fighting to get out of that, and the obstacles to it are real. It's heart all over this movie.